Good morning, good evening, or good night. My name is Mark Christopher Garrett, and today I would like to talk about what does Made in USA mean to you? First off, let's start with the premise. Is an item important that it's made in USA? To a lot of people, it's not. To a lot of people, it is. We'll touch back on that question at the end. First off, I'd like to dive head deep into products that we think are made here in the United States. Vehicles would probably be a staple. Um, and if you guys are familiar with me, then you'll know I try not to name drop. So I know everybody knows the big three or the big four American automakers. I will not mention them by name. I try not to mention politicians by name unless absolutely necessary. We like to talk about the issues because that's really what's important, isn't it? The issues that affect all of us. So, this issue is, what does Made in USA mean to you? Let's go ahead and delve into the car industry. From the ground up, the car sits on four wheels. Now, obviously, the wheels did not come from the United States, but that's an obvious one because we don't grow rubber trees here. So, globalism, commercialized globalism, will have to exist, and people are going to have to accept that we need a country that can work well with other countries so that we can all have what everybody needs, because those other countries, they're in isolated situations too where they don't necessarily have everything they need as well. So we need to build a global community while at the same time making our individual country strong. And I think that's where the two parties fail. The one that goes patriotic uh, seems to forget about the rest of the world, and the other party wants to condemn the people that are going patriotic because I don't know why, other than they think it's evil and they think they're selfish and they think they're racist and they think everything else. But remember, those are false divisions that those parties created and continue to exasperate. So we'll get into those discussions later. A vehicle. So after the tires, you've got the metal on the bottom. Now, the metal we'll get into later. But from there up, let's face it, it's got carpeting inside. It's got all the inlays. It's macked out, molded to precision, painted with the electrostatic painting thing that they do. It's just a beautiful thing. I mean, engineering has come such a long way in a short time. But when you think about all of those things in that vehicle that we say is made here, well, where did those components come? Where did they arrive from, in other words? The speedometer, it's plastic for the most part, and you got that clear shield that goes over the whole front thing and on your dashboard. Um, Most windshields are a high form of plexi; they're not straight up glass. The molding, the car itself, the internal molding, pretty much everything is some sort of polymer base, some sort of plastic base. The paint, right? Paint's a polymer base. Um, so right then and there, people are right now scratching their heads going, where is he going with this? For those that didn't listen to the prior videos, this is important to note because without having a country that has strong fossil fuels, right, um, in the moment, not the reserves, we got to make them in the real time, cannot produce the items that are needed for things that we as consumers, we as people, we as humanity, we as individuals need. Our society needs these things. You need a computer, you need a phone, you need things, all those things hospitals have so people don't die. Beep, 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 right? Those things are made out of plastic. So many things in this world are made out of plastic. And if we don't keep our fuels, our energy, not the reserves, but if we don't keep pumping fossil fuels and make us energy strong in that area, we will never, ever be able to say made in America again. Because all of these base components are made out of some sort of polymer type plastic. And that's just a fact of life. Your brush, your comb, your kitchen utensils, half of them, your stereo, your keyboard. I mean, look around the room. Look up where you're at. And I don't even know where you're at, but I guarantee you can just look around and see multiple things that if we eliminated the plastic component, then where was it made? Not here in the United States, right? So what does made in USA mean to you? How can we make anything in USA if we're not producing fossil fuels? Or is the alternative giving up plastic altogether? And if that's the case, which other countries are doing that? None. So don't be silly. So are we going to let every other country in the world dominate the future? And in how many years would it take if we don't produce oil now before we are unable to build what we call made in America from the ground up? We won't be able to build a car. We won't be able to build anything. Your medicines come in plastic jars. Even your produce that you pick fresh out of the open market goes into a plastic bag, right, individually, and then when you pay for it, all those small plastic bags go into another plastic bag. But don't forget, all the vegetables that were pre-wrapped came on a styrofoam, which is, made from the same thing, and then was also wrapped in cellophane, which is plastic. We cannot get around the plastic component. It's saturated and permeated every industry in the United States, everything that we do, it's everywhere. So if we want to give up fossil fuels, if we want to go strictly solar, which is what one of the major parties is suggesting, then what they're not telling you is that will effectively shut America down, not just in the oil industry, but the United States will never be able to say made in USA again.